Welcome to Brands on Tap, the podcast where we discuss all things brand related.
So whether you're a business owner, industry expert, or simply interested, this podcast is for you. Welcome to Brands on Tap. This is our first proper episode. So, yeah, I mean, it's a bit nerve-wracking, isn't it?
I'm a little bit
nervous. The setup took us a bit of time, but we got there. This week we're going to be, it's Carers Week, so we're going to be talking all things foster care recruitment marketing, which is, something that we're quite well versed in now.
Yeah.
Something we've got a lot of work in. We're just going to kick off. I'm Ellie. Me and Jazz work quite closely on a lot of fostering projects for local authorities. So we're going to talk mainly like local authority fostering, which differs slightly to other types, but we'll get into that.
Yeah.
So I guess we can kind of start with what is fostering. So fostering is a sometimes short-term or long-term arrangement of foster carers caring for children who can't live with their birth families for a number of reasons. There can sometimes be a lot of like trauma involved. Sometimes it's like I say, a short-term arrangement and the plan is for them to go back to their birth families. Other times that's just not a possibility and they might move on to adoption or long-term foster care. Foster carers are in short supply essentially.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which it's something I never knew about before working in marketing.
Yeah, neither. I had no idea.
The furthest I knew about fostering was Tracy Beaker.
Yeah.
Because I think,
now
I think about it, I'm like, if you didn't grow up in that time of watching Tracy Beaker, you probably knew nothing about it.
No, this is very true.
Yeah.
I mean, they should bring it back.
They
because
should.
It was good awareness for that. Not that actually at the time I knew what it was about, really. I knew it was like a residential children's home, but...
I think, it was. And it was, they were looking for, they were kids waiting for foster carers, weren't they?
Yeah.
Rather than, adoption. But, it was interesting TV.
Yeah.
Which very different. It's just so interesting to me. I don't know. In this episode, I think we're just going to go through a few, key marketing foster care recruitment tips.
Yeah.
And kind of what we do.
Yeah, bit of a summary,
exactly. I don't know if you want to go into some, overview of fostering as, an industry.
Yeah, so there's a lot of challenges at the moment in the sector because there are just a huge number of children requiring foster care. Every 20 minutes across the UK, another child comes into requiring foster care.
Which is crazy because there's not that intake of foster carers, so there's just this growing gap.
Absolutely.
Or growing shortage of foster carers. They can't recruit them quick enough because it's a long process.
Yeah.
It takes 6 to 9 months for approval.
Yeah.
Maybe 9 months is overdoing it, but it is a long process, but it has to be because they have to do all those checks to make sure that they're safe to care for children and able to and confident to do it. Because I think that's speaking to foster carers through working with local authorities. It's one thing I've noticed is the process is so long because they have to be confident to do it.
Yeah.
And it's a nerve-wracking thing welcoming a child into your home that you've never met.
Yeah.
And it's scary for them too. So it's a bit they obviously have to be fully equipped and there's often a lot of different counterparts to it and different things different types of training and everything that needs to be passed, etc. So
and there's obviously such a high need for certain types of children, so teenagers or 11 plus, should we say, sibling groups, children with disabilities. Naturally, a lot of people gravitate, as we know, to caring for babies, and you get parent and child fostering, and it's just much harder to recruit people who are, I guess, open to looking for children with more complex potentially needs, I guess, as a roundup.
Definitely.
So that's kind of the picture, I guess. There's always going to be a need for foster carers. And fortunately, we've kind of grasped some good ways in which we can hopefully try and recruit those through marketing.
Definitely.
So should we just dive right in?
I think we should just dive right in. You've kind of covered, obviously, the different groups. Some of them are definitely harder to recruit for than others. Because they're all so different. If you're caring for a teenager, you're going to have such a different experience to caring for a baby or a child with disabilities. Local authorities often completely tailor their training, don't they? So, and there's different pay levels.
Yes.
To some, it depends on the local authority. Some are different. You get different maintenance payments based on the child's age or needs, etc., and your experience. So it all like is completely tailored.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
On that note, should we summarise IFAs versus LA?
Okay.
Just in case no one knows the difference,
definitely.
who's listening. Do you want to explain local authority and I'll explain IFA?
So a local authority fostering organisation is completely not for profit, and they are part of the council, and it's their like foster care recruitment. So when a child comes into the care of the local authority, they will look amongst their pool of foster carers first, and try and place that child in a suitable placement. When you're fostering with a local authority, you always like you'll have local children, and like that's a benefit I think to the child, is that they won't be going too far from the place they know. Which is definitely a big perk. In addition, all the training support is all local.
That's very
sort
true.
of like within your radius of your local authority. There is opportunity to do like further training and stuff further away sometimes if the need arises, but you don't really need that, I guess. Trying to think what else. I write about it so much that it's like I'm just complicit to it now.
I think you summarised it well.
I think that's the main points.
That is their duty, isn't it? To care for these children and make sure they've got the right outcomes. So and that's kind of, I guess, if they can't find that suitable match between a foster family and a child with the local authority, that's where the IFA or independent fostering agency may come in as a suitable alternative, because they will have their cohort of foster carers that obviously the local authority can utilise, which as you've kind of already said, may result in a child potentially being moved
their pool is
away.
Like sometimes it's on a local level if they're a local IFA, but sometimes it's national. With a local authority, all available funding goes directly back in to like getting the best outcomes for those children, whether that's like additional support groups, like summer activity programs, everything that like a child in a family home would get the opportunity to have. So that's the difference, a key difference.
Because I mean there are like some IFAs, I mean obviously
there are some that are charitable as well, and they're like or still charity run.
And like I guess I wouldn't have a clue how many of those there are across the UK, because we're so like used to working with local authorities.
It's definitely our like specialism now, because it is different in the sense, like the way you market it's different, because we can't. Yes, you get good pay or for being a local authority carer, but it's not the same as what an IFA can offer you. In many cases. So it's marketed quite differently.
So should we talk about marketing that we know works for local authorities, or just fostering actually recruitment in general? So this can anyone who's listening, hopefully you'll come away with some tips and tricks.
I mean, I think every local authority is so different to each other, so we've always had to, like, although we might look at the same options, the way we do it is so different, isn't it? Like the messaging as well between different local authorities, they also all have completely different like specifics. Like some don't like to use the word pay because it's not seen as a monetary job, the job you do for sort of high earning, etc. Whereas others want to use that and they really want to push that. So because it is a career at the end of the day. For however long you end up doing it. Some people end up in it for donkey's years.
And I guess that's like a really good place to start, because actually we're trying to actively promote that fostering is not just a vocation but a career.
Definitely.
And that you could do it your whole life. And I think a huge element of fostering is that people think that you've got to be a certain age, your children have got to have moved out, gone to university, you've got to be an empty nester to fit this criteria and have all this life experience, but technically you can be over the age of 21. You've got to have a spare room, and there's obviously certain other regulations that you've got to get DBS checks. You've got to go through that lengthy process, but
but then it's not, I'd say it's a lot of background work. It's not necessarily that you're going to be like hard interviewed all the time. Like it isn't that. They don't want to cut you out. They want you to foster, but they have sort of things they have to follow, but they'll help you where they can. I think that's one of the key things, that they'll support you in like a way that if a certain time, like you can only commit a certain amount of time to fostering, they're pretty willing to sort of find a way that's going to work, whether that's respite, short term, long term. Blah blah blah.
And you never know, you might think, oh, I want to foster a 2-year-old, but you might end up fostering a teenager Yeah. And it might just be the best thing you've ever done. So
yeah, exactly. So foster.
Yeah, foster now. Inquire with your local authority.
Inquire with your local authority today.
Yeah. So marketing wise, what would you say key channels are for recruiting foster carers?
Okay, so definitely your online channels. So I think Facebook, Instagram, raising awareness on there. We've got some that use like Twitter, but it's kind of, or X, but it's, that fluctuates, I think, on a local authority basis. And through like your own like internal channels too. So whether like your council channels on like the council pages, sometimes they obviously have an established following if it's a new service. Paid search, I think, is a huge one, because IFAs are naturally bidding on the same locations as you, so you have to be readily available for when someone wants to find out more. But then I guess with like paid Google search, you also have to have a good website and present all your information on there, just be that one-stop shop for everyone.
Very true.
There's so many questions, and people have the most random questions sometimes, but it's something that's important to them. So
I think as well with the Google search, because like you say, it's so competitive.
Definitely.
That's why it's so important that you get it right, and making sure you're not kind of being complacent with your strategy and just letting it roll over month on month, because before you know it, your impression shares have probably gone really down, and you're bidding on irrelevant keywords and you're not getting the results you need. And I think typically we find that most of the transactional valid inquiries that actually progress to a home visit are those that come through organic search, and that's makes sense, as we know, like that's the most kind of really conversion driven channel, is that point when people are actually they've engaged with, they could have been thinking about it for years. They could have engaged.
That's the thing, the funnel for it is so long. People do sit on it for so long. Well, we haven't touched on that, but we will.
And that's why I think organic search, it's more so typical when someone's ready to make that next step. And that's something we've seen, I think, as a trend across like all the local authorities that we've worked with, that most of those conversions that are trackable, that we've seen the results from are from PPC on Google search,
definitely,
and just organic search as well.
That you can't take away from how valuable that is as well. And I find a lot of like the search terms that I always like kind of see are the highest clicks are pay related, because people genuinely have no idea how much you get paid for it, and it's a factor you have to consider if you're gonna do it in addition to your existing job, or whether you're doing it as a career and that is your solo source of income. Then it is such a huge factor. So
it sure is.
And it's not, because like some people might see it as that people are doing it for the money, but they're absolutely not.
No.
Because like you could do anything. And why not do something that gives back?
It makes a difference.
Exactly. Keep local children local.
I'm trying to think what else. So said about online, offline. I mean, can't underestimate that as well.
Definitely.
Community sort of groups, magazines, trying to target cohorts of people that have got the right characteristics of caring people that actually want to make a difference. So typically, you've got your empty nesters as well, that's kind of like one cohort, but you've also got people who work in public services, teachers,
who are already experienced in caring for people, or
and they've got
that drive,
the drive to make a difference. And
but then also you could have literally no experience with children. You don't have to have children of your own, you don't have to have had any experience with a child. It's just that full like pool of like opportunity, and I think it's difficult to find that happy medium, because we've said about it when like you see a video on Facebook of a foster carer who's 75, she's done it in retirement, and you think, oh well, I'm not that, but you don't have to be. And I think it's like that happy medium of like showcasing every sort of situation where you can do it, because people do sort of more actively engage when they can see themselves in that content, not physically, but
so true,
they can resonate.
No, that's so true. I mean, as well, mind blank. I'm just trying to think what I was going to say on what you just said.
As well, confidently.
Oh, that was it. That you don't, you can foster alongside your job. As well. Like, you don't have to just drop your career there's always going to have to be like a
consideration,
and
the fact that you're caring for someone else now.
It depends what type of fostering you do. You might not be the primary carer in your household. You might have a partner or a family member who's helping you, and you might be able to still work part-time, like supported lodgings. A lot of people work alongside doing that, and typically that's just caring for 16 to sort of 21-year-olds who are sort of preparing for independence, so it's
teaching
treated
them,
quite
like,
differently.
life skills more than
and
same, I guess, with like parent and child fostering. Like, it's in some circumstances there's less sort of hands-on like caring kind of thing, because you're more there to facilitate than do the actual caring yourself. But
another cohort I've just thought about is which I've spoken to a client about, is like people who actually support like international students,
like private fostering.
Because I mean, you get a lot of people who obviously open their homes to students, and it's kind of there's that angle of you're opening your home, you could open it to a local child as well, which is something that could be tapped into more, I think.
Definitely,
as a angle,
because it's a similar arrangement in the sense that, like, private fostering, or like when you when you provide a home for locally we have EF, which is like I couldn't tell you what it stands for.
No, I can't
but
either.
It's like a company that facilitates students coming from abroad for the summer and enjoying the English Riviera. But they have host families, and that's a private fostering arrangement. It's a paid for over 28-day basis. So and the local authority will be aware of that. They have to, technically. Anything over 28 days, I think you have to report, don't you?
I think that's right.
Like, but it's not like they're gonna come and like say you can't do it. It's just that they need to be aware of who a child's living with. So
very true.
Because there are so many different, like, a whole separate realm is like kinship. Which I think is new to us. Like, we've been the last couple of weeks we've been talking about it a lot. So another episode on that to come.
It's not something we've really tapped into, is it? Because I mean, it's like another division.
It's together and separate, the way I understand it. Some areas overlap, where they are like a kinship carer basically is a friend or family member caring for a child they know. Sometimes it's like on a unofficial basis, or like there's no care order in place. Other times it's a type of foster care, so it's paid for, etc. There's so many different types, which is so confusing.
You'd probably be best like Googling about that if you want to know.
Google it or come back in a month. Maybe longer.
We'll have an episode out at some point on that. I'm trying to think as well, like TV.
Sorry, I've gone very off topic.
No. Other channels like TV, bus backs,
radio and like magazine or like newspaper are the ones where I've heard foster carers say, I heard a radio ad, or I heard this, and it was just the thing that like kicked me over the edge to doing it.
Exactly.
And like, I think that's so precious that people do remember what made them want to do it, but they don't remember all the things they saw in the lead up to it. So you just it's that ongoing nurturing, isn't it? And then
for sure,
just getting that one final like exposure to push people to inquire, encourage people, not push.
And it's like
a big decision.
And it's like an always on
definitely
approach.
That is there is so much value in it being always on. When we say always on, we literally mean always on, but not on every channel.
No,
because you can't look, that's just not sustainable. But like having your Google search there consistently running and being monitored is so valuable, because it's just that if it would just be that one time that you're not on, that someone searches and can't find you, because they're not searching for the right term, or they're not necessarily trying to navigate to your site as a local authority. Maybe they're not sure if between the difference of an IFA and a local authority. So it's making sure that you're present
all the time, as much as you can within your budget.
Within your budget, budget's definitely depending, because that is another thing with local authority, because they're so children first, which obviously is incredible, but that's the
every local authority's, I guess, budget differs. And on that note, you've got the fostering hubs now that obviously DofE's kind of got this funding,
Department of Education,
the donor. And got these regional hubs for local authorities to join together forces and put budget to helping recruit more foster carers, which is
a great scheme. It's in its first year.
Yeah, a lot
and
of pilots.
Every hub we've come to realise is very different.
They're treating it so differently across every single one.
So it'll be really interesting, I think, at the end of it, for them to compare notes and see what's worked, what hasn't worked, because they can't try everything in a year.
No, it's a short space of time.
It really is. And I mean, that year as well includes the setup time.
Yeah.
It's not that they've had ages to plan it.
Yeah.
I mean, some of them are still getting up and running.
Yeah.
So
with a review point for next year. So they're not going to have that much data really to work from.
No.
But I mean, it's all like a learning phase, isn't it?
Yeah.
And yeah, we're excited to see
definitely
what difference it makes.
Because I mean, they're being told, so local authorities basically are regionally pulling together. So in some of the ones we work with local authorities within the Southwest, so they're part of Fostering Southwest.
Yeah.
We also work with some in East and
Southeast.
Yeah. Southeast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Southeast,
no, you are
East,
completely correct.
Southwest.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're all doing it so differently, but within each one there's a pool of like 9 to 15 local authorities, and it changes, doesn't it, depending on how big the region is.
Yeah. I feel like East is like 20 something.
No, I think East is only 11.
Oh, sorry, I meant
9
Southeast.
or 11.
Southeast, silly me, yeah.
Yeah, and Southwest is 15, I want to say.
Yeah.
Which...
Don't quote us on that.
Yeah, don't quote us on that. Google fostering with your local authority. Actually, I can't remember what the overarching...
They've all got their own names.
They do have their own name, yeah, and it is... I can't remember. There's Foster East. Fostering Southwest.
And Local Authority Fostering Southeast, I think.
Yeah, that's a long one. But it's like...
Or Fostering Southeast. Or Foster Southeast. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to get and check after this podcast.
We'll fact check.
And insert it on the screen.
Yeah. Cool. When you editing this. Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the whole aim of these regional hubs is to boost basically local authorities' recruitment efforts and basically have economies of scale, more buying power. A local authority, it can be simply unachievable for some of them to do TV or anything like large scale.
Yeah.
So these hubs are basically facilitating that for them, and they get to benefit from all of the direct sort of referrals in their local authority.
Yeah.
In their region, in their smaller region.
Yeah.
It's so confusing.
Yeah.
But
the hubs, they've obviously got their own strategies for each one.
Yeah.
But what we found is because we're supporting local authorities,
we've
as
got
well,
a bit of oversight of a couple.
Yeah, and that it's making sure that the strategies complement each other.
Yes.
So
and you're not duplicating
any stuff, and it's just going to make things more costly if you're creating direct competition. I mean, there's always going to be an element of this competition element with the two, but they're for the same gain.
Absolutely. So realistically, it doesn't matter whether a foster carer goes down the route of applying with the local authority, because they'll be driven to the hub anyway.
Yeah.
And if they just go straight to the hub, the local authority still benefits.
Yeah.
So it's
I think that's just something for local authorities, if there are any tuning in, that, you know, I think just being conscious of if you've got an engaged agency or, you know, you're doing things in-house, which a lot of local authorities do, then you're making sure that it's not directly, I guess, negatively impacting what you're already doing and what the hub's doing. They need to work in the same direction.
You're not driving up your own cost per click by actively bidding on the same thing that the hub's bidding for.
Yeah.
Where in some things you just can't avoid it because they're so like broad in content, like as in like each like keyword being a broad match.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like really like nailing down on those specifics.
Yeah.
And trying not to overlap. But then some of them, we know of one hub that aren't having that anyway, where they're basically the hub running it in replacement of. Yeah. So it does differ. Some of you won't have to worry about that.
I hope someone does like a collated report of what all the hubs are doing. I'm sure there will be next year at some point, because that would be really interesting. Loads of insight and stuff I'm sure everyone can learn from. So
maybe we should just give a quick overview of like everything we've done.
Yeah.
In terms of, because you've
channels.
Done it. Yeah, you've been doing it a lot longer than I have. I mean, so my list is shorter, but I was just going to say, so obviously paid social, paid search, print, like all sort of in-person event opportunities, so like all the collateral for that, whether it's like merchandise, your branded stands, etc. Even like your branded t-shirts.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a value, because like if that one person's thinking, oh, I want to go back to that stand, but the person's not there, you know where to find them.
Yeah.
They're wearing the shirt.
Yeah.
Like,
merch and promo material you just can't underestimate, really.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know, get as many people as you can wearing those branded t-shirts.
Yeah, get little badges, whatever it is.
You had a great idea, actually, didn't you?
Did I?
Yeah.
What was that?
No, you had the card idea.
Oh, yeah, the little card idea.
Yeah.
So I'm actually quite proud of it. I won't lie. So we've done, like, one of our clients, a little business card sized card that is like just a pass it on card. So the concept is that when someone asks someone at the local authority or someone or a foster care or any other stakeholder about fostering, they can say, you know what, even if it is, you can talk about it, great, but if you haven't got the time to talk about it, you've got this card, it's got a QR code on, like the short form link, and then you just say, look, just go on this website and then like have a read. When you're done with that card, pass it on again.
Yeah.
And yeah, as long as the paper holds up. They're good quality cards though.
Yeah,
so
they are.
They look really nice. I'm actually quite happy with them.
They do look good.
Yeah.
And it's something that's manageable for people to do as well,
Yeah,
which I think is
definitely.
what we spoke about before. It's like an easy thing to pass on.
Yeah, it's doing something achievable and being that advocate, like, for foster caring, even if you can't do it yourself.
Yeah.
Some people can't, and that is just the sort of, like, that's just how it is. So, but you can still advocate actively.
Yeah.
That's
Pass
and
it on.
everyone knows someone where they think, oh my god, they'd be such a good carer, or like foster carer.
Yeah.
Like they've just got that nature, or like they're just in the situation where actually it would work perfectly.
Absolutely.
So pass it on, guys.
Yeah. Pass it on cards.
Yeah.
Trying to think. So yeah, we've mentioned about TV, Sky, targeted door drops and direct mail is really great value add. So we've done a lot in the past in terms of hyper targeted mailers, layering in your Acorn and Experian data.
Or alternative.
Yeah.
Other suppliers are available.
Yeah. So that's a really great way of forming a profile of who your current cohort of foster carers are and identifying geographically in your area where the highest density of those individuals reside. So then you can kind of postcode target those people with a really great creative campaign that's going to, you know, resonate and stop you in your tracks, you know.
Yeah, that's what it's about.
There's lots of creative things that we've spoken about. We're not going to give too many ideas away on this, but we've done so many like brainstorming like sessions, haven't we, of creative ways we can, you know, engage with people. And
coming up with things that are new. That's the thing, is that it's so difficult to come up with new concepts that are achievable, because I'm a sucker for it. Like all the time I'll see something on TV and I think, oh my god, something similar, or like it sparks another idea and I think that would be amazing for XYZ. And I just think, well, but it's just simply unachievable.
Yeah.
Like we don't have a Heinz budget or a McDonald's budget to be playing with. So
no, so true.
Yeah. I wish, but
yeah.
Unless they want to directly sponsor any of our local authorities, let us know.
That'd be great.
Also, yeah.
It's like the John Lewis ad.
Like the John Lewis ad.
A couple of years ago.
The skateboarding one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. Like we all shared that, didn't we?
Yeah.
I pushed it again, like not that long ago.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
I think it was last Christmas. I was like, go back.
It's still worth doing it though. Like
so it is.
The fact that like a huge employer, a huge company like
in
John
a very
Lewis,
like what's the word, like ethical one.
Yeah.
Like, they've got really good like relationships with their staff. Like they're all shareholders, I want to say.
Oh.
Yeah, they have like, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, John Lewis. I think every employee in John Lewis has like a share.
Oh right.
Yeah.
I had no idea about that.
Be a pretty small share. It's quite a big company.
Yeah. Well, that is great.
I could also
if
be
that's the
completely
case.
wrong. Like the co-op.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The co-op. Right.
Co-op.
Yeah.
Co-operative.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
But yeah, some people might not realise that have seen the John Lewis ad, Christmas ad, obviously, we're talking about.
That'll be a whole episode for us in itself. I can't wait.
Oh, we'll have to do a debrief when it's the John Lewis like, ad comes out.
Yeah, because
it's
like
analysis.
All the John Lewis, the M&S food one, like because it's different. They do too, don't they? Who else? Like Matalan.
Yeah, I love the M&S food one.
I can't remember a standout of last year, but that's a topic for another time.
Yeah. Looking forward
I digress.
Yeah, we're digressing. Rewind. Back to, we're just going to, I think what I was going to say about that is that it was just great that, you know, a huge thing like the Christmas ad for John Lewis was dedicated to creating awareness about fostering.
Yeah.
So hopefully more companies will come forward and start doing that, because it helps make such a difference. So, and the shortage is only increasing. So,
going back to like obviously following on from targeted mailers, and then we digressed slightly. There are other things like dedicated landing pages per campaign, specific types of fostering. If people are only interested in fostering a teen, fostering a baby, for doing short term, blah blah blah, it's like essential to have that one point of call for all of that information specifically, where they're not sort of showing everything else too.
Agreed.
And have to filter through.
Yeah.
So
hyper targeted.
Yeah. Oh, I think the only other thing is like the value in real life situations and sharing that. Sharing real life content. It's my favourite thing when a client comes to me and they say, oh, we've got this like foster care, it's got an MBE, or like they've hit a milestone, or they've created this, can we share it? Like, I love that.
Yeah, so it's so heartwarming and inspiring.
Yeah, definitely. And it does great because at the end of the day, people want to see the people doing it. Yeah. They don't want to like always see like the key perks. They want to see like a real life situation. You have to share both, definitely, because otherwise you can go the other way, and then people don't have all the information they need.
Exactly.
So,
but we've definitely found that over the years, having real people is what engages the most. You know, we've tried like animation and things like that, and we'll leave that for another like creative episode. But just having the heart and soul of fostering on show, hearing the real people, like you say, is just the best bit, really. It's more relatable.
Yeah, there is a limitation obviously with fostering. Don't know if people are obviously aware, we can't share content of the children, which is such a big thing. So it's finding sort of foster carers that are willing to be involved in the recruitment aspect of it, and then complementing that with stock or model-led imagery. Which,
I mean, occasionally we might get a couple care leavers.
Care leavers are such like valuable, and they've got that real experience, like lived experience, where they can actually share their opinion organically. Like,
it's just hard to, it's a difficult one trying to get people who are willing to share such a personal story. I guess
that's the thing.
But I mean, we've done it before. It's getting the people, isn't it? Like you say, we've used models, actors, and things. So
local authority staff members and their children,
volunteers,
which is so valuable.
It is. We'll be getting involved.
To be fair, we've been on shoots, and I have thought when we've been going like, oh, am I going to be roped in? But I've avoided it, directed instead. Made tea. Made tea. Refreshment breaks. Holding the reflector. My favourite shop. I mean, I think we've kind of covered everything like marketing channel wise, I think. Obviously all your internal like comms as well. So like to your own like local authority staff members, like your intranet, different systems, etc.
Your local press and PR team internally.
And like your local external comms. Like often like local authorities have their own teams that are there to help with that.
You need to make the most of your internal team and the different divisions within that and different services, I guess, and those contacts that you have through the local authority, and trying to create a bit of
traction. Nice word, that, isn't it?
And a community who's actually interested in trying to help such a huge area for local authorities, I guess.
Agreed.
Another side note is, I guess, the retention side.
Which is a side that, I mean, we're less involved with our current clients, because retention at the end of the day is the foster carer's experience. They're only going to stay as long as they can, and as long as they're sort of getting everything they need support wise, as long as it's feasible for them. So that's one thing, but I mean, I don't know if you've got anything to add to that.
So organic socials often consist of majority foster carers already approved with that local authority themselves, in terms of, if we're speaking about local authority fostering pages on socials, it's majoritively foster carers who are approved with them, people who've got a link to fostering in some way, or staff of the council themselves. So when you're looking at trying to nurture that audience to try and help you attract more foster carers, like, that's so important, because I mean, such a huge number of valid inquiries come from people of word of mouth. So we just need to try and nurture people to have those conversations with other potential foster carers, staff, you know, friends, family, whoever it might be that they know, because it's going to take years for someone to make that first contact. And word of mouth is so important. So we kind of, I would say, organic socially encourage that, but also through other marketing, it's really important to try and refer a friend.
Refer a friend.
Or, you know, ask someone about fostering, start up those conversations. I mean, it's a known thing that majority of people who become foster carers, it's because they've got a pre-existing link to it in some way. They might have had someone in their family who's been care experienced or looked after by the local authority, and they might have someone at school or in their job that they've come across. And I think it's trying to just create more awareness with that, really.
Definitely,
I've kind of gone on a bit of a ramble there, but I think that
the
whole point...
ramble. I enjoyed it.
The only point is that it's important to encourage word of mouth, and that's a whole retention thing, and making your foster carers feel valued.
And I think another thing that I've become aware of with different local authorities is that their like community that they've built is so valuable. Like, because whether that's through a Mockingbird scheme, which is a whole separate thing, again, could talk for hours about that separately. Mockingbird is a scheme run by the Fostering Network. I won't go into it too much, but it's a retention tool and a community tool to basically make the wider family scenario in a fostering family, because that's not always available to some foster carers, to some children, blah blah blah. Things like that, like, and your community of foster carers is so valuable because you get that peer-to-peer support, and like local authorities are so good at building that and facilitating foster carers calling on each other, whether it's through a buddy scheme, sort of like in-person events that they host. Ambassadors, they're so valuable too. So like a specific person or couple of people, in my experience, where it's been like one or two, that can be that port of call for foster carers to go and voice their opinions, because sometimes it might be that you don't want to approach your like social worker about something that's logistical. Like, I don't know, maybe you would, but maybe you'd rather just speak to someone else, and like sometimes you'd rather talk to someone of the same opinion of you.
Very true.
So that is a really valuable tool. Ambassadors, community, peer-to-peer support, buddy systems. I think all of those are like...
like you said earlier as well, like the anniversary thing and milestones is really nice.
Celebrating that where you can.
Foster care fortnight, great opportunity to appreciate your foster carers and thank them for all they're doing.
Okay, so obviously now it's Care Leavers Week. I'm rolling my eyes because I said it wrong a minute ago. Paul's edited it out, I hope. Care Leavers Week. So like sharing your care leavers, their achievements, their foster carers, and just celebrating everyone that made everything a success for that child.
Literally.
That's what it is at the end of the day. It's reaching the best outcomes for local children. Whatever that is.
Absolutely. I think that's
a nice way to end it off,
isn't
it?
I think so.
I think that was wholesome for everyone.
I feel like we've kind of just done a bit of a brain dump on like our thoughts around
It was definitely
fostering.
a brain dump. I feel scrambled.
So do I. But hopefully it just gives a bit of a summary around some key bits in marketing in terms of fostering. And a bit of education around it as well.
I think that's the thing, is educating people, isn't it? Because like we've said at the start, there are so many people that don't know about it, and it's just not even something that's crossed their mind. So it's sparking those conversations. And something definitely that when I came into this role that I had no idea about.
Same.
It was such a big thing. Like I even remember like when we first spoke about it, when you first like briefed me, and me thinking like, oh yeah, Tracy Beaker. Like
full circle moment.
No,
I was the exact same,
and now it's something that we're both really passionate about.
It's such a lovely thing to work on.
Our whole team are passionate about it though. We're always so keen for a project, new fostering project, or adoption.
We do a lot of adoption too, but that could be another episode.
I've got less experience in that sense. It's a bit of a different aspect, but
still under that children's services umbrella.
So definitely.
Yeah,
cool.
Okay.
Well,
All right.
Yeah, nice way to finish it off, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, we hope you enjoyed. If you think of anything else that we should talk about, let us know, because we're always looking for new ideas. We've got a fat list of things we want to talk about, and we keep adding to it. I think every podcast episode, I'm like, oh, let's talk about that next time.
I know.
But the list is growing, but it's a good list.
Yeah, so send us your ideas, because I was going to put that on our Instagram.
Yeah.
Like, anyone send us any ideas, because...
because we, I think this episode has been more of like a sector spotlight kind of thing, but we have got ideas for some that are more print, or that's one coming up. What else have we done?
Yeah, I think we'll have...
What else have we got on there?
Yeah. Oh, what you mean, just episodes in general?
Yeah, we're going to take more of a marketing approach on some of them as well, which you probably might have hopefully seen in our intro episode if you've watched it.
Yeah, if not, go and have a little listen. It's only 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's shorter than this one. This one's been long. I'm not going to say how long, because we've changed it probably.
Yeah. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed and it's been useful somewhat. So keep an eye out. We'll create some more episodes in the future for sure around fostering, diving a bit more deep into certain elements like creative web. Yeah. So yeah.
Enjoy.
Thanks.
Enjoy. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.
I mean, something that we found as well, because obviously we do work with local authorities on their recruitment, is that the East... The East? The East? I feel like, what's going on with that?
You just moved your pint and then...
I'm going to move it
mid-cut.
Right, I'll start again. Yeah, no, I was just going to say, with the...
I don't know what you're going to say. Yeah.
Every little helps. Which is the tagline for what's that?
Tesco.
I'm gonna cut that. Don't want that in there.
We'll cut that.